Welcome back to the Coming Out Happy podcast. We're so happy to have you here today. We have a special guest, and I'm super excited because there's a lot of fun things happening in Kelly's life right now. The Pitch the Bitch book is coming out very, very soon, and you can probably get that by the time that this is released. And also, Kelly's getting married, which is so
Yay.
exciting. But Kelly, I would love for you to just do an introduction on who you are, what you do, and just really excited to share you with our community.
Sure. So I'm Kelly Winget. I'm the founder and CEO of Alternative Wealth Partners. It's a private equity company based here in Dallas, Texas. I am as far as I'm concerned, I think that I'm the only millennial, openly gay private equity person around,
Mm.
which is a unique experience in the financial space because one, there's not a lot of women, and there sure isn't a lot of people that are openly gay. So that's kind of my claim to fame here in the private equity space. But I've been in this world for about almost 15 years. I started in oil and gas. I'm 5 generations in oil and gas, so I was going to find my way there one way or another. I started in sales at 15, selling car washes in high school. I was making almost 6 figures part-time. So I got my taste for money really early on, and I just never stopped. In 2020, I decided to launch my own firm, leaving the institutional and family office space. And so far, we've raised close to $25 million across our different offerings. And we're, investing in small business America and infrastructure and commodities, which is what I like to invest in.
Oh my gosh, that is incredible. And now you get to really look at people that you want to invest in. And how do you, when you go about doing this, I know this wasn't in the questions, but I'm going to go with it. When you go about investing in people, what really matters to you? Like, what's the most important thing?
It is 100% the people. So the easiest way to describe what I do is Shark Tank. Like everybody's watched Shark Tank, and they get to do this on a small scale, and I get to do this on a big, like a larger scale. I see a lot of companies, and it ranges from clothing companies to coffee companies to oil and gas. I look at deals all day long. Um, the differences between how we structure our deals and how we fund people is because we're looking at the management team. If you can find a really good founder or management team, it doesn't matter what product they're making or selling, they can do anything. And that's the type of person that I want to put money and effort behind. Because anyone can have a good idea any day of the week, but it's about finding and motivating the right person to really make a higher return. And so you can see that across all of our portfolio companies. One of the biggest ones that have been the headlines now is Dapper Boy, who got a no from Shark Tank, but a yes from us. And it's been a really cool thing to be a part of because I've actually known about Dapper Boy for a long time. So it was a cool opportunity to be introduced to them directly and be able to participate this way.
Yeah, they're amazing. Oh, yeah, for sure. And they were on a previous podcast episode, so you can listen to that too. But one of the cool things too is seeing LGBTQ plus founders thrive and grow. How has that been for you? I mean, being a queer person, being in this world, seeing that, hey, we're not always getting the money. It's not, people are usually looking at it. I mean, everything that's happened with Target the past week, there's a lot going on. So how is that for you as a queer person to see that change?
Listen, the crop top that says live, laugh, lesbian is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. And every time I've been to Target a couple times and I've been trying to find it, not for me to wear, but like to frame or something. And I haven't been able to find the right size because if I wanted to wear it, I would want to wear it. But being gay in finance is an interesting, like, kind of line to teeter across because you're working with a lot of different types of investors. And in my career, I actually wasn't very comfortable being openly gay when I was talking to couples about different investment opportunities. And it wasn't until about 5 years ago where I was in spaces that were more comfortable, where I could say, like my partner, and that be not like make everyone uncomfortable, but I never said what sex my partner was. Now I get to be very open because I own my own firm and I don't really care what people think anymore. But it was difficult in my past to have that be a part of my identity. And it's cool now, and this has literally happened probably in the last 3 years, where you can see more openly active people in finance and founders and starting companies and standing behind that part of their identity. it shouldn't necessarily keep us from getting capital, but it does, because all the rich people are old white men for the most part. That's changing. We have this really large wealth transfer that's happening over the next probably 7 years, where you have $27 trillion moving from the boomers to basically Gen X and millennial women.
Mm.
And that group of people are going to be the ones that shift the economy over the next 5 to 7 years.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. You're shaking shit up. Like that's what like you're making moves and really allowing these opportunities to come through. I mean, it's just never been seen before, you know? Um,
Yeah.
one of the things, alternative wealth partners, if someone were trying to understand a little bit more about investments, how would you explain or describe alternative investments and even the reasoning behind the name?
Sure. So alternative investments is everything outside of your traditional asset classes, which are your stocks, your bonds, and cash. So everything else is an alternative. Your cryptocurrency, your real estate investing, even insurance products are considered an alternative investment. So anything you're doing outside of the public markets is considered alternatives. And there are sometimes like alternative index funds that invest in alternative companies, but the reality is that an alternative investment is not involved in the public space at all. So I've been exclusively in alternatives for the entirety of my career.
Mm.
And that's just a personal preference of mine, because I think that the public markets are manipulated by, basically the big firms. And so as a small shareholder, especially if you're talking about somebody that might have maybe 1,000, even $100 worth of extra money to invest, you're going to have to just put it there and wait and see forever. I mean, this is Warren Buffett's strategy, is just to invest in something until the end of time. You can obviously be successful if you live to be 100 years old and you've been invested for 100 years. But moving forward, that is not a reality for people. They need to have access. They need to grow their wealth much quicker than the market will ever be able to do. So it's an opportunity for people to start learning about alternatives. There hasn't really been a lot of accessible information about alts forever, because these things are gatekept between the barrier of entry needing to be an accredited investor. So an accredited investor being somebody that has $1 million net worth or make over $200,000 a year. This is very difficult for a lot of people to access the alternative space. But you can start in certain asset classes. Like real estate doesn't necessarily have an income barrier. Obviously, you have to be able to afford the piece of real estate you're investing in, but it doesn't say you can't invest until you have a net worth of $1 million. You can buy precious metals without having an income qualifier. You can obviously buy cryptocurrency without an income qualifier. So there are assets that you can get involved in without being a millionaire.
Mm.
But one thing that COVID taught us is that anybody can be a millionaire overnight. And so you have this like brand new kind of windfall wealth that's happening specifically for women, with OnlyFans, with TikTok. There's a lot of opportunity for people to just make merch and then start selling things. And I think that that's kind of what the financial advisory and wealth managers of the world aren't understanding, is that wealth is no longer just, I've been in my career for 40 years and I've saved and I've invested in stocks, or I started a plumbing business 40 years ago. It's, I decided to wake up one day and make chili honey and sell it on the internet, and now I'm a millionaire. And I think that that shift for the financial professionals needs to happen, so that everybody can have access to diversified portfolios when it comes to generating wealth for themselves outside of like how they're producing income for them.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so important. And I'm sure for the people listening, like it's honestly hopeful. It just feels like you're not so far behind. There are ways to get involved now. I know that you'll probably be presenting so much of that information, and I want to read your book, but you'll be presenting that information in the book. But also, what are other accessible ways that you have or resources for people to really learn about these different kinds of investments and how they can start, growing and learning and becoming financially smarter in these
Yeah.
ways?
So I do talk about the different types of information sources out there in my book, which is, pitch the bitch, grab your financial future by the bags.
Love it.
And it's not necessarily of like, what you should be investing in, or here's step one, step two, step three. It's really about changing your mentality when it comes to wealth creation. And it's okay that you don't know this information. It's on purpose. And here's where you can start looking up this information and start taking control of your financial future, is by just educating yourself and accepting that I don't know this, but I should know this and I can know this. There isn't anything that is above anybody's head. I don't think that people should just like randomly decide to go be day traders or something, but all of this information is accessible. It's hidden behind things. And the book kind of walks through how do you like push away the nonsense to like find the actual tangible knowledge. And also people that you should be following that, you know, you may or may not know about. You know, everybody knows Warren Buffett, but not everybody knows Sally Krawcheck. And Sally Krawcheck is like the definition of private wealth. And she's created a platform that helps women and marginalized people invest. It's called Ellevest. And she's been around for quite a long time. She was the CFO and CEO of Citibank, and she like basically created what is Merrill Lynch private wealth. She's insane. She has a net worth of like $16 billion, and no one has any idea who she is. She's a little abrasive, but for good reason. She has the health marker of women's financial health, and she creates access for people to start investing, or at least learning about investing through her platform. And she doesn't put like a huge paywall that keeps people from accessing opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I know that this is going to be so helpful just for people to read your book, to have this other resource as well, because a lot of the times you don't know who to trust in this space. And I think it really, at least when I'm looking for support, or I'm looking for someone to connect with or someone to learn from, I'm looking if they share a similar experience or they get it in some way. So for specifically queer adults, why is it important to have financial literacy?
So we deal with a lot of different hurdles than our heterosexual counterparts. And one of the biggest things that I feel for people is that, you know, we live in Texas, right? So it's like constantly at the top of my mind and my fiance's mind of like, are we prepared to run away, right? And what does that entail? And not everybody has that privilege to just like pack up their lives, like move somewhere more friendly. And I think that that really puts a really big burden on us as queer individuals, is like the necessity to be secure enough to be safe. And I don't think that most professionals in the financial space understand that fear or need when it comes to financial planning. Unfortunately, there just isn't a lot of representation for us in the financial services. I mean, only I think like 16, maybe 20% of all financial professionals are women and or minority. So take that group and then maybe a percent of that being gay, if they're even open about it. But the important thing is that there are resources to find professionals that want to be found by other queer individuals. And there's the gay commerce groups, the associations in the cities, things like that. Here in Dallas, we're actually having an event called Unleashed LGBTQ. It's in September. Have you heard about it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, you know, for your listeners, if they're queer and they want to come to Texas and see what we're all about, we have one of the best neighborhoods in town. We're throwing a large event to have networking and education opportunities about money and entertainment. So it's going to be a kind of a cool event. I'm going to be doing an entire workshop on the pink dollar and how to, you know, start putting together financial plans as a queer person. So there's definitely resources out there. We're getting to be more comfortable being out, but it's really important for people to take into consideration their estate planning as a queer person, because we have a lot of different goals when it comes to our money. We don't necessarily always want to have kids. If we do have children, it's a huge choice and obviously a financial burden. It's very expensive. My head of investor relations is actually a queer individual too, and her wife went through in vitro. It's very expensive. So like these are things that you have to plan for, that a lot of people don't, and I don't think that that gets taken into consideration when we're building out our wealth journey.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And then there's not that opportunity to do the things that you actually want to do and you want to experience, and it can be really challenging. So to have the resources is everything. And I'm just so thankful that you exist and that everything that you've provided is something that people can really get their hands on. It's accessible and it's not gatekeeping. It's like, here it is. I want you to win too, because if one of us wins, right, we all win in some way.
Right.
And seeing that representation, I mean, I know for us as entrepreneurs, right, looking at these different people that have been successful, sometimes there's only a handful, and you're looking everywhere. Where can you find people that have created this? And I think when we all can rise together and support each other, it just makes the world a better place. And we're on each other's team, you know, we're trying to keep it all together. So what is the number one thing that you really want our listeners to take away from everything that we chatted about today, and just anything that you have that's coming to you in the moment?
Well, if you're a business owner, my piece of advice is just to fail fast, and be aggressive about it. You know, if something's not working out, just move forward, but also wave your flag, because we're out here, and I think that it's becoming a safer space for us to be more open about where we are as leaders. So there's a lot of VC, private equity money, investor dollars out there that want to support diverse founders. And so if you're interested in that, obviously you can reach out to me directly and I'll point you in the right direction. Again, I don't ever want people to feel like they're gatekept from anything. I personally, in alternative wealth partners, cannot work with non-accredited investors. So you do have to have that $1 million net worth or a $200,000 income. But it doesn't mean that I can't give you the information. You just can't invest with me, but it doesn't mean you can't invest with me tomorrow. So the whole point is that you're not a client today, but you could be a client tomorrow. I want you to have the information. And if, you know, if it points you in that direction, great. If not, also great. But I think it's okay. Just do it. You have to take action. And I think that that's my piece of advice. Just do it.
Yeah, even starting with the book is a great place to start. And it'll officially be released on what day?
Oh, you can buy it right now.
Okay, you're just having the parties now.
I'm just having the parties now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. And where can they get the book?
So you can get it directly on my website, which is kellyanwinget.com / the book. And I think it's on Amazon as well. We're working on an audiobook that'll come out at some point after I get married, I'm sure. And there's, I think you can get it on Barnes and Noble and stuff too, but the easiest way to get it is just to order it through the website, because it comes directly from the printer.
Very cool. I love it. Well, we're so excited for you, and you're getting married, and
Yes.
What's the date for that?
June 24th.
Oh, amazing.
Pride Month.
Do you want to talk a little bit about it? What are you looking
Yeah.
for most?
Marrying my fiance. We've been together about 3 years. We met on TikTok. It was 1,000% a COVID relationship, and it's been amazing. It was just one of those things that instantly clicked, and we got engaged in France. And so when we were looking at venues and stuff, we were like, how ridiculous would it be to get married in France? We found out it wasn't actually very ridiculous, and so we are getting married in France. She's a social worker. She has two children, 10 and just like literally days ago turned 13. So we have our hands full with attitudes, and so we're going to venture to Europe over the summer and get married. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm so excited for you, but I have to know who slid into whose messages there. How did that happen?
You know, the trend where it was like my name is and my favorite song is and like, you know, some fun
It's a
fact
dating app on there. I've seen that.
Yeah. So I mentioned that my favorite drink was Mexican candy shots. And if you've never had a Mexican candy shot, they're amazing. It's tequila, watermelon pucker, and hot sauce.
Sounds good.
With tahini. So it tastes like one of those like dried fruit chili candies. And so she commented on my video and she was like, what's a Mexican candy shot? And I was like, oh, well, let me tell you what a Mexican candy shot is. And it turned out we lived like 10 minutes from each other.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Yeah.
TikTok algorithm working out there for you.
Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh. And then you just started chatting from there.
Oh yeah, immediately. So our little love story will actually be in the New York Times. But we started talking on TikTok 2 days later. I was out of town for work. I was down in Houston. And when I came back in town, I was getting ready to fly out the next day again to go to Miami. And I was like, I just want to meet you because I'm going to go out of town again. And I went to her house and I fell asleep.
Really?
Why did you fall asleep? What happened?
I drove for like 6 hours I was in Baton Rouge, I guess. I was coming back from Baton Rouge and I missed my flight the next morning. And so we had brunch instead. And brunch was going so well that I canceled my flight to Miami and booked it for the next day. And I was like, hey, do you want to come check out my house? Because I was like getting ready to close on a house. And she's like, okay. So she goes with me to my house, and we like look at my house because I was about to close on it in like a week. I was going to go to Miami, come back, my house was going to be finished. And it was like a Friday afternoon. It was like sunny outside. This is like June. And I was like, do you want to go have like margaritas on a patio? Because it's like Friday. She worked for the school district, so she was like off all summer. This is why she wasn't doing anything in the middle of the day. So we're like going back to Denton, which is, if you're familiar with Dallas, it's just north Dallas. And so we're like driving to go to this place to go have margaritas. And I'm like in my car and like call my sister. My sister and I are 15 months apart. Okay. So one of my best friends. So I call my sister. I'm like, hey, I'm going to this place to have margaritas. Like, do you want to come join us? And she's like, okay, I'll call mom. And so
it was like all in one.
Yeah, we go to this place. It's called Angelina's. It's like just a margarita place. And we get there. My mom, my sister, my brother, and my brother-in-law all show up.
Whoa.
And
this is day one.
So she had to be she was doing
when I talk about fail fast, I mean in every aspect of your life. Okay. And so I'm very close to my family. So I said, like, if you're not gonna like them, it's gonna be a problem. And so yeah, we spent that whole day together, and she met my entire family, and then we were inseparable ever since, and here we are.
Oh my gosh. Congratulations.
What's her name?
Sarah.
Oh, so cute. Sarah and Kelly. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, your wedding is going to be beautiful. Do you know what kind of food you're having? That's important.
French food.
Oh, yum.
All I said was like baguettes. Is there anything else?
Oh, well, no, it's like Normandy fillets and stuff. So you guys came back from Europe, so you understand, like, food is just good there. And so you don't really have the options of having bad food. It's just like, here's your piece of cow or your piece of fish.
Stomach doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But it's at a chateau, so it's typically run as a hotel. But because we have 40 people coming, we just have the whole place. And so their kitchen is cooking whatever the buffet or whatever the dinner thing is.
Yeah. You probably don't even care. You're like, bring it out. Whoever it's delicious, Well,
we're going to be there for 4 days. So they're going to have a different thing every day. And which is really nice. The whole experience is like something you would never see here or ever. It would be $1 million here, I'm sure. But for us, it was like easy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, we're so excited for you. Please post pictures. Can everyone follow and see? You'll post pictures on your Instagram?
Yes.
Where can people find you? I know you we'll put all your links, but if you want to just say so that people can follow along with everything that you're doing.
So Kelly and Winget is my like social media handles. If you want to know like more like insight on money, then LinkedIn. I post a lot on LinkedIn. I write articles on LinkedIn. I contribute to a bunch of different media outlets when it comes to alternatives. And but as far as like social media and like personal stuff, then it's just Kelly and Winget, and that's on Instagram and TikTok.
Perfect.
Love it. Yeah, let's go follow you on TikTok now.
The old TikTok is gone.
Is it? I
wanted to see that video.
What happened? I was ready.
Maybe I still have it. It's an archived or whatever when you have to like move videos.
I'll
pull it out and then post the wedding one. But it's not stuffy. My TikTok's not stuffy. So I don't think that anyone should take money like too seriously. At the end of the day, you just go out and make more. Yeah. So just relax. I think is the best thing. Just don't be so stressed out about money. It's okay.
Oh, I love it. It's exactly what we all need to hear. Well, thank you so much, Kelly. You're the best. And I'm super excited for this podcast to be released and for people to just really take something so great away from it and know that there's so much hope. There's an amazing resource like you. And read the book. Come on. We're all going to read the book. Let's learn together. Let's grow. We got this. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks for having me.